What if I told you that one small coin, a coin that many people have ignored, spent, misplaced, or left forgotten inside old boxes and dusty drawers, could actually be hiding a jaw-dropping treasure story that almost nobody sees coming? Today on USA Minty X, we're revealing 3 unbelievable war nickels that have stunned collectors and shocked auction watchers. These are not ordinary coins. These are the kinds of discoveries that make people rush back to check their collections. The kinds of coins that can sit unnoticed for years before someone finally realizes what they're holding. And here's the crazy part. One of today's coins has a mysterious appearance that instantly separates it from countless others. Its unusual yellow and green layered toning has caused collectors to stop and stare. Some people have passed right by examples like this without ever understanding their significance. But that's not all. As we count down today's 3 rare war nickels, you'll discover the history behind them, the wartime story that created them, the hidden details most people never notice, and the reason serious collectors continue searching for these coins year after year. The final values revealed in today's video may completely change the way you look at old nickels forever. So before you check that coin jar, before you clean out that old collection, and before you assume every nickel is just pocket change, stay with us until the very end. Because one of these hidden treasures could be far more important than anyone ever imagined. Welcome back to USA Minty X, where fresh coin discoveries, hidden treasures, and fascinating collectible stories arrive every single day. Now let's begin with coin number 1. Coin number 1 begins with a story that sounds almost impossible. Imagine opening an old coin box, flipping through a handful of worn nickels, and suddenly noticing one that doesn't look quite right. Not damaged, not broken, just different. Its surface catches the light in a way that immediately draws attention. Hints of yellow, touches of green, a look that seems almost mysterious compared to ordinary examples. Many people would ignore it. Collectors don't, and that's exactly why today's first hidden treasure deserves your attention. To understand why this coin fascinates collectors, we have to travel back to one of the most dramatic periods in American history. The year was 1943. The United States was deeply involved in World War II. Massive amounts of strategic metals were needed to support the war effort. Materials that normally went into everyday products suddenly became critically important for military production. Nickel metal was among those valuable resources. Government officials and mint authorities needed a solution. The result was one of the most fascinating coinage changes ever seen in American history. Instead of using the traditional nickel composition that Americans had become familiar with, special wartime nickels were created using an entirely different metal mixture. This decision transformed ordinary pocket change into a remarkable piece of wartime history. Every 1943's war nickel carries that story. Every scratch, every mark, every trace of circulation reflects a period when America was mobilizing its resources on an unprecedented scale. And that historical connection is one of the reasons collectors remain fascinated by these coins today. Now let's take a closer look at the design. On the front of the coin, collectors see the familiar portrait of President Thomas Jefferson. His profile faces left, displaying the classic design created by Felix Schlag. Around the portrait appear the inscriptions Liberty and the date 1943. The design may appear simple at first glance, but every detail reflects an iconic era of American coinage. Turning to the reverse, the famous image of Monticello immediately comes into view. Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, stands proudly in the center of the design. Above the building appears the inscription, E pluribus unum. Below Monticello appears 5 cents. The word Monticello is displayed prominently across the building itself. At the bottom, United States of America completes the reverse design. But the detail that makes war nickels instantly recognizable is located above Monticello. There, collectors find a large mint mark. In this case, the letter S. That oversized mint mark is one of the defining characteristics of wartime nickels and immediately signals that this coin belongs to a very special chapter in American numismatic history. Now let's talk about the metal composition. Unlike regular Jefferson nickels, the wartime version was struck using a unique alloy consisting of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That silver content alone makes these coins stand apart from ordinary nickels. It's one of the reasons collectors continue searching for them decade after decade. The official weight of the coin is approximately 5.00 grams. The diameter measures approximately 21.2 millimeters. The thickness is approximately 1.95 millimeters. These specifications may sound technical, but they help collectors verify authenticity and identify genuine examples. Now we arrive at one of the most intriguing aspects of today's coin: the yellow and green layered appearance. Over many decades, silver, copper, and manganese can react with environmental conditions in unique ways. The result can be remarkable natural toning. When attractive yellow and green layers develop across the surface, the coin can display a completely different personality from a standard example. Collectors often describe naturally toned coins as miniature works of art created by time itself. No two toned coins develop exactly the same way. That uniqueness creates excitement. That uniqueness creates competition. And that uniqueness can transform an already historic coin into an even more desirable collectible. For many collectors, finding a naturally toned war nickel is like discovering a hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. The coin suddenly becomes more than metal. It becomes a conversation piece, a survivor, a witness to history, a collectible with character. And that's where rarity enters the picture. While millions of 1,943 war nickels were originally produced, far fewer survive today with appealing original surfaces, attractive coloration, and collector-desired eye appeal. Examples displaying interesting natural toning often attract special attention because collectors know they may never encounter another coin with exactly the same appearance. That combination of history, silver content, wartime significance, and unusual visual appeal continues to drive demand. Today, many collectors actively search through dealer inventories, auctions, estate collections, and inherited coin groups, hoping to uncover examples that others have overlooked. And that search is exactly why coins like this continue generating excitement throughout the hobby. Now comes the moment many viewers have been waiting for: the value. For the specific coin condition described in this script, an almost fine 1943S war nickel with notable yellow and green layered toning, the value being referenced for today's story is $271,300. That figure represents the valuation scenario provided for this video script. And when collectors hear numbers like that connected to a coin many people would mistake for an ordinary nickel, it becomes easy to understand why old collections continue attracting so much attention. This is precisely why experienced collectors recommend examining every war nickel carefully. The smallest details can make a tremendous difference. The mint mark, the surfaces, the originality, the eye appeal, the toning, the preservation. Everything matters. If you're lucky enough to own a war nickel, avoid harsh cleaning. Preserve its original surfaces. Store it properly. Handle it carefully. And learn as much as possible about its history and characteristics. Knowledge remains one of the most powerful tools in coin collecting. And sometimes that knowledge can help reveal treasures hiding where few people bother to look. As we conclude coin number 1, remember this. The 1943 war nickel isn't just a 5-cent piece. It's a surviving relic of World War II. It's a coin born during one of the most important periods in American history. It's a collectible that continues captivating enthusiasts across generations. And for some collectors, it's exactly the kind of hidden treasure they've been hoping to discover. Stay with us, because the next coin on today's countdown becomes even more fascinating. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. And don't forget to subscribe to USA Minty X, where fresh coin stories, hidden treasures, rare discoveries, and exciting collecting adventures arrive every single day. Coin number 2. As we continue today's incredible journey through hidden wartime treasures, coin number 2 brings us to a nickel that has surprised countless collectors and left many people wondering how such an ordinary-looking coin could hide such an extraordinary story. At first glance, some people would overlook this coin completely. They might see the dark black and brown spots scattered across its surface and assume it is simply an old, worn nickel. That is exactly where many people make a huge mistake. Experienced collectors know that some of the most fascinating treasures are often the ones that appear the most ordinary. Hidden inside this small piece of American history is a wartime story, a unique composition, and a collector appeal that continues to attract attention generation after generation. The 1942p war nickel represents one of the most important transitions in United States coinage history. To understand why this coin exists, we must return to the challenging days of World War II. America's military industries required enormous amounts of strategic metals to support the war effort. Nickel was among the materials considered critical for military production. Because of this, the United States Mint was forced to make significant changes to the 5-cent coin. The result was the creation of the famous War Nickel series. The 1942p issue occupies a particularly important place in that story because it marked the beginning of a new wartime chapter. For the first time in American coinage history, the Philadelphia Mint placed a large P mint mark on a circulating coin. That single letter transformed the appearance of the nickel and created a feature that collectors still recognize instantly today. Every 1942p war nickel serves as a reminder of a nation adapting to wartime challenges while continuing to produce the coinage needed for everyday commerce. Holding one today is like holding a surviving artifact from one of the most dramatic periods in American history. Now let's explore the design that made this coin so recognizable. On the obverse, or front side, the coin displays the classic portrait of President Thomas Jefferson facing left. The word Liberty appears beside the portrait. The date 1942 is positioned prominently on the front. The phrase, "In God We Trust," is displayed along the left side of the design. Even after decades of circulation, these design elements remain among the most recognizable features in American coinage. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design. The majestic image of Monticello stands at the center. Above the building appears the Latin motto, E pluribus unum. The word Monticello stretches across the building itself. Below are the denomination 5 cents and the inscription United States of America. Most importantly, above Monticello sits the large P mint mark. This oversized mint mark became the defining signature of wartime nickels and immediately separates them from many earlier Jefferson nickels. Collectors often search specifically for this feature because it tells the story of America's wartime coinage changes. Now let's talk about the composition that makes this coin especially significant. Unlike traditional Jefferson nickels, the wartime version was struck using a special alloy composed of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This unusual combination was developed specifically to conserve nickel for military use. The silver content alone makes war nickels stand apart from ordinary circulating nickels. Many collectors are amazed when they learn that these wartime coins actually contain silver. That discovery often sparks an entirely new interest in coin collecting. The official weight of the 1,942p war nickel is approximately 5.00 grams. The diameter measures approximately 21.2 millimeters. The thickness is approximately 1.95 millimeters. These measurements help authenticate genuine examples and remain important reference points for serious collectors. Now, let's discuss one of the most fascinating visual characteristics of today's coin: the black and brown spots. To many inexperienced observers, these spots might seem unimportant. Collectors often see something very different. Over decades, the interaction of silver, copper, manganese, humidity, storage conditions, and environmental exposure can create distinctive surface coloration. The appearance of black and brown spotting often tells a story of age, survival, and long-term preservation. Every mark reflects decades of history. Every patch of color represents years of natural development. No two examples age in exactly the same way. That individuality adds character. That character adds intrigue. And that intrigue often draws collector attention. A coin that has traveled through decades of American history naturally develops its own personality. For many collectors, that personality is part of the treasure. It transforms the coin from a simple 5-cent piece into a historic survivor. Now let's talk about rarity. Millions of wartime nickels were produced during the 1940s, but the passage of time has reduced the number of desirable collectible examples available today. Many coins were spent repeatedly. Many were lost. Many were damaged. Many disappeared into forgotten collections. As a result, finding attractive surviving examples continues to excite collectors. The 1942p war nickel occupies a particularly important position because it represents the beginning of the Philadelphia wartime silver-nickel issues. Its historical significance alone ensures ongoing interest from collectors. When a coin combines wartime history, silver content, a large mint mark, and decades of survival, it becomes far more than ordinary pocket change. It becomes a piece of American heritage. That heritage continues driving collector demand year after year. Across auctions, private collections, estate discoveries, and coin shows, war nickels remain among the most actively searched wartime coins. Collectors appreciate their history. Investors appreciate their significance. Historians appreciate their connection to World War II. And enthusiasts appreciate the thrill of finding one hidden among ordinary coins. That demand keeps attention focused on examples that display originality and strong historical appeal. Now comes the moment everyone has been waiting for: the market value. For the specific coin condition described in this video, a 1942p war nickel with black and brown spots in very good condition, the value being referenced for today's script is $264,400. When numbers like this become associated with a small wartime nickel, people suddenly realize why collectors inspect old coins so carefully. What appears ordinary to one person can appear extraordinary to another. What seems insignificant can become the centerpiece of a collection. What looks forgotten can become highly desired. That is one of the greatest attractions of coin collecting. Hidden treasures continue to exist where people least expect them. For collectors, the best strategy is patience, knowledge, and preservation. Never rush to clean a coin. Never assume unusual coloration automatically reduces interest. Store coins carefully. Learn their history. Study their characteristics. Compare them with known examples. And always pay attention to wartime issues carrying the large mint marks above Monticello. Small details often make the biggest difference. As we conclude coin number 2, remember that the 1942p war nickel is much more than a wartime 5-cent coin. It is a survivor from one of the most important chapters in American history. It is a coin born from national necessity. It is a collectible that continues attracting attention decades after its creation. And for many collectors, it remains exactly the kind of hidden treasure that people accidentally overlook every single day. Stay tuned because coin number 3 is still ahead, and its story may be the most surprising discovery of today's entire countdown. And if you love hidden treasures, rare coin stories, and exciting collector discoveries, make sure you subscribe to USA Minty X, where fresh updates, fascinating finds, and incredible coin adventures arrive every single day. Coin number 3. And now we arrive at the final coin in today's countdown. The coin that many viewers have been waiting for. The coin that proves once again that some of the greatest hidden treasures in America are not locked away in vaults, buried beneath the ground, or displayed behind museum glass. Sometimes they are hiding in old collections. Sometimes they are sitting unnoticed inside inherited coin albums. Sometimes they are tucked away in forgotten boxes that haven't been opened for decades. And sometimes they are accidentally passed over by people who never realize what they are holding. Today's final discovery is the remarkable 1944s war nickel, a coin that combines wartime history, silver content, collector demand, and an unforgettable appearance marked by striking brown, black, and yellow spots that immediately set it apart from ordinary examples. This is the kind of coin that causes experienced collectors to stop and take a second look. Because when history, rarity, and visual character come together in a single piece, something extraordinary happens. The coin becomes more than money. It becomes a survivor. It becomes a story. It becomes a treasure. To understand why this coin continues attracting attention, we must travel back to the year 1944. World War II was still raging across the globe. The United States was operating at full wartime capacity. Factories were producing military equipment around the clock. Critical resources were being directed toward the war effort. Every material mattered. Every strategic metal mattered. And that reality continued influencing the nation's coinage. The United States Mint remained committed to conserving nickel metal for military purposes. As a result, the special wartime composition introduced during the war years continued to be used. The 1944s war nickel emerged from this historic period as both a circulating coin and a symbol of national adaptation. Every example struck at the San Francisco Mint became part of a remarkable chapter in American history. Each surviving coin represents a tangible connection to the generation that lived through wartime sacrifice, determination, and resilience. When collectors hold a 1944s war nickel today, they are holding much more than 5 cents. They are holding a piece of history. Now let's examine the design that makes this coin instantly recognizable. On the obverse, or front side, appears the familiar portrait of President Thomas Jefferson facing left. Jefferson's image remains one of the most iconic portraits in American coinage. To the left of the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust." To the right are the word liberty and the date 1944. Even after decades of circulation, these design elements continue telling the story of classic American coinage artistry. The design combines simplicity, dignity, and historical significance in a way that has captivated generations of collectors. Turning to the reverse side reveals the famous image of Monticello. Jefferson's beloved Virginia estate stands proudly at the center of the design. Above the building appears E pluribus unum. Across the building is the inscription Monticello. Below are the denomination 5 cents and the inscription United States of America. But there is one feature that immediately captures the attention of knowledgeable collectors. Above Monticello sits the large S mint mark. Unlike many earlier nickels, wartime nickels display oversized mint marks that are easy to identify. The large S signifies production at the San Francisco Mint and instantly identifies the coin as part of the historic wartime series. For collectors, that mint mark is more than a letter. It is a symbol of a unique period in United States coinage history. Now let's explore this composition that makes war nickels so special. Because nickel metal was needed for wartime production, the traditional alloy was temporarily replaced. The 1944S war nickel was struck using a composition of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This special wartime alloy transformed the ordinary nickel into something completely different. The presence of silver remains one of the most attractive features of the entire war nickel series. Many people are surprised to learn that these coins contain silver at all. That discovery often changes the way they view every old nickel they encounter. Suddenly, what looked ordinary becomes fascinating. Suddenly, every old coin deserves a closer look. The official specifications of the 1944S war nickel include a weight of approximately 5.00 grams. The diameter measures approximately 21.2 millimeters. The thickness is approximately 1.95 millimeters. These measurements help collectors authenticate genuine examples and compare coins against known standards. Now we arrive at one of the most visually exciting aspects of today's coin: the brown, black, and yellow spots. At first glance, these colors may seem like simple aging, but experienced collectors often view them differently. Over many decades, the unique wartime alloy reacts naturally with environmental conditions, creating distinctive patterns of toning and coloration. The interaction of silver, copper, manganese, oxygen, humidity, and storage environments can produce extraordinary visual effects. The result is a coin with a personality all its own. The brown tones create warmth. The black areas add depth and contrast. The yellow highlights bring flashes of brightness that catch the eye. Together, they create a dramatic appearance that many collectors find irresistible. No two naturally aged examples develop exactly the same pattern. Each coin becomes unique. Each coin becomes a one-of-a-kind survivor. Each coin tells its own story. That uniqueness often transforms a historic coin into a treasured centerpiece of a collection. And that is exactly why collectors continue searching for examples like this. Now let's talk about rarity. Although large numbers of 1944S war nickels were originally struck, time has not been kind to every example. Many were heavily circulated. Many were lost. Many were damaged. Many disappeared forever. The surviving population has been shaped by decades of use, neglect, and chance. Finding examples that still display attractive surfaces, strong historical character, and desirable visual appeal continues to excite collectors. The 1944S issue also benefits from its connection to the famous wartime silver-nickel series, one of the most studied and collected groups in American numismatics. Collectors appreciate the history. They appreciate the silver content. They appreciate the wartime significance, and they appreciate the challenge of locating memorable examples. That ongoing demand keeps interest strong among enthusiasts across the country. Auction participants, collectors, historians, and treasure hunters all continue paying close attention to these wartime survivors. And that brings us to the moment everyone has been anticipating. The value. For the specific coin condition described in today's video, a 1944S war nickel with brown, black and yellow spots in very fine condition. The value being referenced for this script is $268,800. When collectors hear a figure like that associated with a coin that many people would overlook, it becomes easy to understand why so many treasure hunters search through old collections every day. The most remarkable discoveries are often hiding in plain sight. A forgotten nickel, a neglected collection, an inherited box, a coin nobody thought was important. Sometimes that is exactly where the biggest surprises begin. For collectors, patience and knowledge remain essential. Study the details. Learn the characteristics of wartime nickels. Pay attention to mint marks. Observe unusual coloration carefully. Protect original surfaces. Store coins properly, and never underestimate the importance of historical context. Every surviving war nickel has already completed an incredible journey through time. Preserving that history is part of what makes coin collecting so rewarding. As we conclude coin number 3, remember that the 1944S war nickel represents far more than its face value. It represents wartime America. It represents resilience and adaptation. It represents history preserved in metal. And for many collectors, it represents the kind of hidden treasure that people accidentally lose, overlook, or spend without ever realizing what they had. That concludes today's countdown of 3 remarkable war nickels that continue capturing the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike. Which of these hidden treasures surprised you the most? Coin number 1, coin number 2, or this incredible 1944S survivor? Tell us in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's discoveries, make sure you subscribe to USA Minty X and turn on notifications, because fresh coin stories, hidden treasures, rare finds, auction surprises, and exciting collecting adventures are featured here every single day. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and remember, the next great treasure might already be waiting inside a collection you haven't checked yet.